Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's Brian Wilson coming to you live from the J Street Korean Grill and Bar in Hendersonville, Tennessee, of course, where we're broadcasting tonight all the way until 7 o'clock. I'll be here doing my regular show, The Drive, until about 6, and then we'll turn over, and I'll be joined by, everybody that you know and love is going to be here. Dan Mandis, Chris Hand, Matt Murphy, Johnny B., Pamela Fur will all be here, and we'll continue for a big round table after that, going forward into the evening, and then we'll end things at around 7 o'clock. So here's what I would like to say is, first of all, very cool place. This is a very cool place. If you've not been here, then I think it's worth your time to come by and check it out. But the food is going to be great. The entertainment, it's the best we can do. It's us guys, but we'll try to keep it interesting for you. And there's just going to be a whole host of flurry of activity. But really, what it is a chance to sit down and break bread with good people who listen to this radio station. You're going to be around a lot of people who see the world the same way that you do. And so we love these events where everybody gets together, everybody comes out, and we've got I think a few tickets that are still left. Rich, is that right? We still got tickets? We do have tickets. You can pick them up at the door. And is it still possible to use the special code? The special code is Chris, as in Chris Hand. And so, we'll look forward to having you come by. Everything is going to be, pretty crazy between now and then. But we really do look forward to having you come by. If you are, let's say you're driving home and you're in Hendersonville, you know where we are, but you can't come to dinner. But let's say it's 3 or 4 o'clock. Come on by anyway. Just poke your head in, shake my hand, say hello during the commercial break. We always love hearing from the people who make this broadcast possible. So we'll look forward to doing that. Let me move on to our first topic of the day. No doubt, if you know what's been going on in the world in the last, 18 to 20 hours, you know that there has been yet another indictment leveled against former President Donald Trump. This one comes from the state of Georgia. And as they say sometimes, not all these things are the same. This one is a little different from what we've had in the past. This is a RICO indictment. That's how ridiculous this is. Donald Trump, for raising questions about the integrity of the election in Georgia, by asking questions, by probing and picking up the phone and trying to gather information, has found himself in a situation where he faces RICO charges. This is what they use to put away gangsters. This is what they use to put away people who are connected to the mob. This is way overblown. And it comes from, the state of Georgia and a very questionable district attorney down there. And so let's read through here and see, what it is that he is accused of, and so that you have an understanding of what may be coming down the line. Here we go. 98-page indictment outlines Trump's pressure campaign. This according to thehill.com. Trump's campaign against numerous Georgia officials. And they say that it is a plot to submit false slates of electors and lawsuits with faulty claims affirmed by Trump himself that sought to overturn the results in the state. Now, the question is, were there any improprieties in the state of Georgia? There may have been. You know what I think the big problem we have right now in government is if you have an election and you want to challenge that election, you're on a very, very tight clock. And it's just not always possible to step in and do the kind of analyses and the investigation that you might need to bring about some kind of evidence that would stick in court. Tick-tock, the clocks are ticking, and you've only got a few days to do this, and this is never easy stuff. This is always complex stuff. This is stuff that you can't put together in, 10 minutes. And so, I always thought that, were there improprieties? And there may have been, but I just don't know how in the world anybody can get to the root of that kind of stuff in the limited amount of time that is available. And so, there are questions. There still are questions, I think, about some things that happen. But Trump will have a chance to make that case in court. What I see here with these indictments is just throw everything you can possibly throw against the wall and see if anything sticks. I mean, just whatever you got. Let's just keep throwing stuff, and out of all of this, maybe we find something somewhere that sticks. And this is going to be handled differently because it's a state case, not a federal case. And that means that, for example, the former president will have to go to to be arraigned between now and August 25th. They have until noon on August 25th to surrender. They will have to go to the jail. They will have to, in this particular case, the former president will have to have a mug shot taken. So it'll be very different. And by the way, it's not just the president. There are some 18 other individuals listed in the indictment. Most importantly, the names that I see that sort of jump out at me: Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows, the former chief of staff, and Sidney Powell, one of his other attorneys, I see have been, also indicted in all of this. Is there any there? I don't think so. I think what basically you have is the president using words. How is that a violation? He has an opinion. If it's right, or if it's wrong, it's still his opinion, and he's entitled to express it. But apparently now, the new standard that's in play here is that if you have an opinion that somebody dislikes, then you're brought up on freaking RICO charges, and that's what we have here. Donald Trump is not standing idly by, by far from it. He's going to release, he says, a large, complex, detailed, but irrefutable report on the presidential election fraud which took place in Georgia. It's almost complete and will be presented by me at a major news conference, he says, at 11 a.m. on Monday of next week in Bedminster, New Jersey. Based on the results of this conclusive report, all charges should be dropped against me and others. There will be a complete exoneration. They never went after those that rigged the election. They only went those who fought to find the riggers. And so that's his official statement on it. Now, look, if he's got stuff, if he can truly make the case, and as I said, the thing that I've always been concerned about is when there's an election, you have such a limited amount of time to try to prove your case. And this is a difficult thing to find evidence in. Really, I mean, it's huge. There's numbers you got to go through. It takes a long time to plow through this stuff. But he's had time. He certainly has had time. He certainly has had the resources to go back and look at this thing and to present his numbers. Will his numbers add up? That's what we'll have to find out in the days ahead. But he says it's a conclusive report. He says it will be a complete exoneration. And he says, this is because I went after the people, I went after the riggers of the election, and they don't like it. But most troubling, I think, about all of this is the fact that we have a former president who is, the election is underway. It's very, very close. There have been some questions that have been raised about what was going on in the state of Georgia, which was so important to winning enough electoral votes to go forward. And so, he calls up some people. What would you do if you're running, for an office and there's some questions about impropriety, and you start, you're going to call everybody that you possibly can call. Now, was it a RICO offense when Hillary Clinton said she didn't believe that she had been defeated by Donald Trump? And that's something, by the way, I think she still believes. Well, why isn't she being brought up on RICO charges? Look, the RNC put together a thing, and Chris, maybe I'll get you to pull this up for me here in a bit. It's at the top of their little research page, RNC Research. I think it's either 24 or 34 minutes of Democrats complaining about how the election where Donald Trump was named president had been taken from Democrats. Now, I don't know of any of those people who have now faced charges for asking questions by using their words. What is it they say? Use your words, right? Use your words. Be nice. The president, former president of the United States, he was the president at the time, is using his words, his language to try to find out exactly what was going on and trying to put, it all put together, and was asking people for information and raising questions. And it certainly was in his right to do that, I think. So that's where we are right now with this. It's going to be a knockdown, drag-out. The ramifications of it for Donald Trump are, though, probably this. His numbers go up. There seems to be little doubt that will be the case. Because every time you layer an indictment against Donald Trump, you give it 2 or 3 days and his numbers are going to go up. People see this for what it is. But lawyers are involved, and I think you're going to find that as we get deeper and deeper into this, a lot of the things that they simply threw in there, like making a big stew. Oh, well, let's throw this in there. Let's throw that in there. Whatever let's see what else we got. And when it's all said and done, and when the rubber meets the road, and we're getting down to a trial, if there's going to be one, I think you're going to find a lot of these allegations will have evaporated. And I think mainly it's going to be because you're accusing the president of basically being a mobster by going after him with RICO statutes. But really, all he ever did was ask questions, to raise concerns, to poke and prod. What's going on here? What's happening here? You would do it. I would do it. The Democrats, I know at times, have done it. They didn't end up going to trial on RICO charges. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. Right now, 20 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Well, when's the last time that you had a good old steak down at Legend Steakhouse? Well, if you're driving home tonight, you might want to stop over there. They got a bunch of different locations. Just go to legendsteakhouse.com to find out where they are. But I want to recommend that you might want to go by sometime for a noon luncheon, because they do things the old-fashioned way. It's like cooking you used to get at home. A meat and 2 country-cooked vegetables or casseroles. The meats, fried pork chops, Smoky Mountain meatloaf, fried catfish, slow-cooked pot roast with gravy, 14 vegetables and casseroles to choose from, broccoli casserole, turnip greens, bourbon glazed apples, fried green tomatoes. I mean, really, this is his mom's cooking. These were recipes that he took from her cookbook over 30 years ago, and he never got around to taking it back. Legend Steakhouse, multiple locations, good food at a fair price. They've been in business for 34 years. You're going to love your next visit to Legend Steakhouse.
a sample indictment for the former president, what reportedly released to the public, a new online program from an online pharmacy to cut costs, and an ESPN anchor departing from the network cites lack of constitutional rights as a reason. Those stories and more 3:30 right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, everybody. Brian Wilson at the J Street Korean Grill and Bar, where we're going to be broadcasting all the way until about 7 o'clock. The last hour, I'll be joined by the entire team. Everybody you want to meet. Dan Mandis, Chris Hand, Matt Murphy, Johnny B., Pamela Fur. They're all going to be here. The food is going to be great. The entertainment, well, it's us, so, you get what you get. But, it's going to be a good time. And I think if you have not been to this place, you really should come by and take a look at it. Behind me is simply the largest television screen I think I've ever seen in my life. Short of the things you see in football stadiums, etc. Just a huge screen, and they got me up on it.
Oh, that's scary.
And I know don't look too closely.
You're looking over your own shoulder right now.
I know. When I look over there, I look at it and say, my goodness, that man still has television good look. I don't know. No, I don't know about that. But, they got that up on the big screen so everybody can see what we're doing. And we're going to have, like I say, the entire first 3 hours is just the regular show. Come by, even if you're not staying for dinner, if you just want to bop in, say hello, shake my hand during the commercial breaks. We don't get out this often, so love to have you come by and do that. And honestly, nothing would thrill me more than for you to do that. And then as we get into the 6 o'clock hour, everybody will do in a big round table. We're going to talk about, the elections. We're going to talk about what's going on locally, maybe get into the special session. We're going to find out more about Chris Hand because we don't have enough to pick on him about just yet. We don't know that much. He's so new, we haven't really found the things that we can, sort of burrow in on.
I think Matt Murphy can get to the bottom of that.
Yeah, well, maybe that'll be good. All right, I like that. Well, anyway, we were talking a moment ago about what happened with Donald Trump and the indictments, and I asked Chris to find this little piece of audio that is put together by the RNC. Chris, just start the thing and let's listen to it for just a moment.
You can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
How can you win with Russian interference, though?
That's a real
what I'm
thing.
scared about in 2020.
But rightly.
Because I think he's an illegitimate president that didn't really win. So how do you fight against that in 2020?
You are absolutely right.
He's an illegitimate president in my mind.
Would you be my vice presidential candidate? Folks, look, I absolutely agree.
Trump didn't actually win the election in 2016. He lost the election, and he was put into office because the Russians interfered.
Russia interfered with our election.
And see, we know none of that is true. But what you have here, and by the way, this goes, what is it, 24 minutes, Chris? I think
24 minutes, yeah.
24 minutes. This goes for 24 minutes. Democrat after Democrat after Democrat talking about how the election was stolen from Hillary Clinton. None of them are now being charged with any crime because they had questions. None of them. It's insane. And so this is a perfect example about how, if you're on one side of the equation, you get easy treatment. You get a plea deal, even though the last plea deal, broke up. You get the benefit of the doubt. You get special treatment, and because the DOJ and in this particular state, we're talking about Georgia, controlled this part of it controlled by a Democrat DA, and you never really get the same kind of treatment if you're a Republican. And how is this fair? How is this right? And we'll continue to talk about this throughout the day. And we'll pick up the phones and open up the phone lines so you can weigh in. Right now, it's 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
30 minutes after the hour of 3 o'clock, I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. 81 degrees right now in Nashville. No rain in the forecast for the next few days. Traffic weather coming up in 5 minutes. Some breaking news out of Fulton County, Georgia. The Washington Examiner reports that the apparent court document that appeared on the county clerk's website yesterday, hours before a grand jury voted to indict former President Donald Trump and 18 others, was a test that was not supposed to go public. The Fulton County Clerk's Office claimed the, quote, fictitious document, which was uploaded ahead of the actual indictment that was handed down hours later, was, quote, unofficial and a test sample only. And a major online pharmacy says a new program will help people with diabetes save money. Brian Clark with some details.
Amazon Pharmacy says it's introducing automatic coupons to provide savings on insulin and other diabetes care products. This automates discounts that the federal government negotiated with drug companies earlier this year. Amazon says this is going to help the estimated 14% of U.S. insulin users who call the monthly price tag a financial burden. Under these programs, costs can be capped as low as $35 a month for many people.
And a longtime ESPN Sports Center anchor who sued for getting yanked off of the air after making comments critical of COVID vaccine mandates and former President Obama says she's now leaving the network to exercise her First Amendment rights more freely. Sage Steele posted to X, formerly Twitter, that she has successfully settled the lawsuit. Her attorney says Disney-owned ESPN offered Steele more than $500,000 to settle her lawsuit, which shows they admit their liability, but they cannot purchase their employees' constitutional rights. Details of the settlement Steele mentioned in her post have not yet been revealed. That is the latest news. Weather and traffic next. I'm Mac Maury, Super Talk 99.7 WTN News.
We are live at J Street Korean Grill and Bar. This was a fantastic experience. We're cooking everything in front of us right here at the table. We've had ribeye, J Street's famous steak. We had lemon pepper chicken. We had bulgogi. I'm probably butchering it, but I asked like 3 or 4 times how to pronounce it. So it's not for a lack of trying. But you need to try and get out here August 15th. We're going to have a live event, Super Talk Live. Brian Wilson's going to be doing a show. Me, Dan Mandis, Matt Murphy, Pamela Fur, Johnny B. Everybody's going to be here. We're going to cook at the table. We're going to talk politics. All you can eat food. And believe me, look at this spread. When they say all you can eat, it's all you can eat. So join us. Grab your tickets at 997WTN.com. Promo code Chris. And if you need help cooking your steak, I'm here for you. Let's do this thing together.
Well, listen, you have a problem with your air conditioning right now? I mean, a lot of people do this time of year, and you just really can't tolerate it because, it's hot, it's humid. You need that AC going at full blast, don't you? Well, call the number I would call, 615-775-7833. That's the folks at Busy Bee. They will buzz over to your hive. They will fix whatever's going on. And, maybe you will find it's one of those rare situations where it's not an easy fix. These things do wear out. The life of an air conditioning system, you're good if you get 20 years out of them, but maybe you need to replace it. If you do need to replace your HVAC, if you do need to replace some kind of plumbing system, you're not going to find a better deal. You should become a member of the Beehive Club for as little as $99. You'll get 3 thorough maintenance services on your systems, one aimed at heating, one aimed at cooling, one aimed at plumbing, no overtime charges 24/7, and 10% off all repairs. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling is your official Rude Pro partner. Here's the number, 615-775-7833, online at busybeehvac.com. You know, it's 3:37 now on Super Talk. I'm Brian Wilson coming to you from the J Street Korean Grill and Bar in Hendersonville, Tennessee. We're so happy to be here for the event tonight, which will, we're gonna have everybody here at 6:00. All the big names, and and me will be there. Chris Hand will be here, Matt Murphy, Dan Mandis, Johnny B., Pamela Fur. Everybody will be here starting in the 6:00 hour for a big round table, and that will take up the last hour of what is traditionally the drive before we hand it over to Mark Levin tonight. We've been talking about the indictments that came out of Georgia, the state indictments. These are different, many people believe that one of the reasons that the Democrats wanted to have something that came from the state level is it might be something that could be pushed through very quickly. I don't think that there's any there. I think this is another example of tremendous overreach by the Democrats. But, I mean, when you start using RICO because somebody asked a question or two about the outcome of an election, it seems like to me it's just, it's historic overkill. What do you think about all this? Want to open up the phone lines and chat with you about this again. Are you angry? As you know, we've been talking yesterday when we were talking about that song, Richmond, North of Richmond, and how everybody is listening to this song and it's tapping into an anger. This no doubt adds to that. 615-737-9986. If you are a supporter of Donald Trump, how do you feel about it? Does this change your opinion about him one whit? And how do you feel about this strategy that the Democrats have come up with to indict for basically using language, asking questions? There used to be a thing in this country called the First Amendment. There used to be a thing here that said you had freedom of speech. I don't know how this is turned into a RICO case, the kind of case that that they bring against mobsters and thugs and criminal white collar enterprises. I just don't think it's the same thing. What do you think? 615-737-9986. Let's go with, by the way, get on the line. A lot of lines open. Bobby in Nashville, you're up first on the drive. Hello, Bobby. What do you think about all this?
I think it's a big bunch of bullcrap. They can ask questions. If he asks questions, he's wrong. If he's not accepted, he's pushed to the side. Man did nothing but do stuff in this country. Now, should he kept his mouth shut several times? Yeah, I agree with that. But as far as a whole, the country was in a so much better place. That's just my 2 cents.
Well, I think you'll find a lot of people that agree with you. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, I try to put myself in his position. If I was hearing all of these stories about improprieties and possible problems in the electoral process, in the election process, election integrity issues there in Georgia, which was so important to my electoral college strategy, would I not pick up the phone and ask questions? Of course I would. I think anybody would. When did that become a crime? When did that become something that everybody thinks, the man should go to the Gray Bar Hotel for? I don't see it. And I think it's dramatic overkill. I mean, there's no telling what will happen, depending on where this is tried, what kind of jury pool you get. It's entirely possible, but I have a feeling that a lot of this case is going to be peeled away like layers of an onion by the time it gets to trial. 615-737-9986. Jim in Coffee County, you're up with Brian on the drive. Your thoughts, sir? Jim, are you there? I can hear you breathing,
yes,
Jim.
Sir.
I know you're there. Go ahead.
Yeah. None of these indictments change my mind one iota. I see what they're doing. They're weaponizing the government. They're trying to keep Trump from getting a nomination winning presidency again. It's just one more example of weaponizing government, because we have a right to redress government and elections.
Yes, I mean, it seems like we do, and I don't understand the problem here. Well, look, this particular case, the cases that have been filed in other jurisdictions, there's a tremendous amount of idea here. I mean, what does it all come down to? Democrats are freaked out, completely freaked out by the possibility that Donald Trump is going to get reelected, and this is something that they can't accept. They can't accept that the man has a following and that he might well win. I mean, the way it looks to me right now, he's set to be the Republican nominee. I don't see anything that changes that. Maybe it changes, but I really honestly don't see it. And at the end of the day, you have a situation where, they can't stand it, and so they're going to do everything they can. They're going to throw everything that they possibly can to see what happens. Now, look. Remember, if there's a trial, there's an appeal. If there's an appeal, it could take, it could take years. And some of these things are going to be absolutely taken straight, I think, to the Supreme Court. But this is criminalizing speech, which is something I think is reprehensible. Shannon in Murfreesboro. Shannon, you're on. Oh, we lost Shannon. Chris, out on the road. Chris. You're on with Brian on the drive. What do you say, Chris?
I think the main thing they want is they want to get a picture of Trump in a lineup, and then they're going to use it in every campaign ad that you see for the next year. I don't really think it matters whether they convict him or not. They want to get that picture of him.
Well, they're going to get apparently something in this particular, unless the Secret Service cuts some kind of deal. Remember, the former president is still under Secret Service protection, and so anytime you want him to be somewhere, and there are things he has to do, you have to negotiate with the Secret Service over security concerns. Now, every time before now, they have waived the necessity of a mugshot. They have streamlined the process. They have made sure that the former president is not in handcuffs, that kind of thing. And I don't know that on the state level they're going to be able to control that as much as they can on the federal level. But one way or the other, I think you're right. I think they want to have that picture. I think, will there be a perp walk? I mean, can you imagine a former president of the United States in a perp walk in handcuffs? I mean, let's hope that's not the case, but I mean, it could well be. And I think you're right. I think a lot of this is get the picture that we can use in a million different ads of Donald Trump holding up the little sign with the numbers on it. I mean, it's ludicrous. It's absolutely insane. Look, this thing has just spiraled out of control. This thing is far worse than anything you might imagine. When this election was over, and Joe Biden took the oath of office, I don't think anybody imagined that as we are in this position, that there would be, how many, different charges being leveled against Donald Trump. And I think one of the things the Democrats are trying to make the point on is, well, if there's this many charges against them, there must be some there. Well, you know what? I'm not sure that there is in some of these cases. It seems pretty thin, seems pretty desperate, but I think Democrats are desperate right now. I think they truly are desperate right now. So, we'll watch that and see what happens. At 615-737-9986. We have time for a few more calls if you have some thoughts about this. People who support Donald Trump, nothing changes for them. I mean, they see through this. They see this for what it is. And it doesn't seem like that they are likely to be in a situation where they want to, if they haven't changed their mind about Donald Trump by now, does anybody really think that they're going to change their mind, with this new development? James in Columbia, you're on with Brian on the drive. What do you say, James? James?
Yes.
Yeah, you're up, buddy. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I think if he had went on and not try to the Capitol, put those people at the Capitol, went on, and all this stuff wouldn't have happened. He brought this stuff on himself. And ain't no reason talking about freedom of speech, because it's nothing to do with freedom of speech. If the man is guilty, and I'm not a Democrat, but we need to face it.
You think he's guilty?
He is guilty. He is guilty.
Of what?
Everything. It's what's called racketeering. You name it. Pretty well everything he got charged on, he did it. He tried to overturn an election. I was in the military. He tried to take this country by force. He wanted to be a dictator. He's not a dictator. He broke the law, and the Republicans say they believe in the law, so let's believe in the law.
Well, James.
Let justice prevail.
Well, there's going to be a trial. I just don't think there's anything to the charges, just between you and me, James.
That man guilty as sin. If he was Obama, y'all would be saying a whole different story.
All right. Well, James, we gave you your shot. Thank you so much for being a part of what we do here. We take all calls, and as you can tell, we let people express themselves. Jimmy in Nashville, you're up with Brian on the drive. Hello, Jimmy. What you got there?
Thank you for taking my call, sir. You're my favorite radio show every day. I can't wait till 3 o'clock comes around.
Well, I really appreciate that. Thanks, Jimmy.
You're welcome, sir. The thing that amazes me is sometimes we need to stick together, and then you have things like Brian Kemp and the comment that he made today, the governor of Georgia. It's almost like everybody, the Republicans and the Democrats, have long knives out, and they're going after Trump. And, why are we doing this? Why are we tearing up our country this much?
Well, it seems like we have just reached a point where it's about giving it to the other guy. And the Democrats fighting with the Republicans, and I think the Republicans fighting with the Democrats. And at the end of the day, everybody's so consumed in the fight with the other side that what's getting lost and what people are not paying attention to? I think the needs of the people, which is why I think that song, Richmond, North of Richmond, is resonating with people so much. People are tired of the nya, 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 nya. I mean, it's just, back and forth, sticking your tongue out at each other like a bunch of 5-year-olds. And at the end of the day, you're so consumed in the fight with the other side that you're not thinking about, what's good for the people, the people who actually make up the fabric of this country. Look, we'll have plenty of time to unpack all that. Right now, though, it is 50 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. We talk about Beacon Capital Management all the time over here, good people, and they can help you to make sure that you've made the right decisions so that you can retire and everything will be great, right? That's what you want. And they often say sometimes it's a minor adjustment, sometimes it's a mid-course correction. Well, here's a perfect opportunity for you to find out all about the folks at Beacon, but also learn what's going on in the market that could help you make the right decisions about your retirement. It's called the 2023 Market Halftime Report, Financial Trends, Opportunities, and Outlooks. It'll be Thursday, just a couple of days away, over there at the Marriott in Cool Springs, starting at 10:30 a.m. Now, you're going to hear from the Beacon folks. You're going to hear from, John Maxson and Pete Benson, the folks that you've been listening to on this radio station for so many years. And I'll be there to have the opening remarks, and I'll be there. I'd be glad to shake your hand, say hello. But that is August 17th. 2023. That's just a couple of days away, 10:30 a.m. Couple of ways that you can find out more about this. Go to beaconcm.com. Or perhaps, the easiest way, just pick up the phone and call this number, 615-488-9303. That's 615-488-9303. It's the Market Halftime Report, Financial Trends, Opportunities, and Outlooks, 10:30 on Thursday, 10:30 a.m. Thursday at the Marriott in Cool Springs. I hope to see you there.
Hey folks, Paul Winkler here. One of the things I like to do for investors is educate them, because the more educated I believe that you are as an investor, the more peace of mind you have, the less you worry, and the more successful you're likely to be as an investor. So here goes another education. If we look at a lot of these investment portfolios, like these target date funds out there or portfolios put together by big mutual fund companies, they'll often use something called a total market fund. And you think, wow, I own the whole market in one mutual fund. Matter of fact, there's a really popular video out there on YouTube that says you can get by with just a couple mutual funds and you can be totally diversified. Nothing could be further from the truth. What's going on here is this. One of the things we know as an investor is that you have small companies out there and you have large companies out there. You have growth companies and you have value companies. I taught this in a previous video. We expect more return from small companies than we do large because they have to pay more to use your money historically. Value companies have to pay more to use your money historically as well. Now, what happens with total market funds is they weight based on the size of the company. Well, that would mean that a bigger company would represent more of the portfolio. So graphically, it would look something like this. The fund would look like this. That there's a ton of money in really big companies, and there's almost no money in really small companies in those portfolios. So it's not really diversified. Do they own them? Yeah, they own them, but they almost have no money in them. So when these do really well, you're not really getting the benefit from it. What we would be better served doing is investing in various areas of the market and holding different types of funds to be more balanced between these areas. That's what academic research shows us, is if we can hold these areas more separately, then we end up with a better risk-return experience. So this is one of the things that we teach people. We like for you to understand this, because the more you understand it, the less you're pulled astray from the investing industry that's typically all about selling you things. Yeah, total market fund, it sounds really good. Not necessarily so great in practice. Now, if you want to find out a little bit more and learn more about investing so that you're a more educated investor, why don't you take us up on a free 15-minute phone call. Go to paulwinkler.com. It's paulwinkler.com. You can set up one in any of our offices, our 10 offices around the Nashville area. There's one near you, most likely. Set that up. Come see us. We love to educate investors. I think you'll be happy you did.
Tennessee Representative William Lamberth joins WTN to talk this month's special session, student loan debt cancellations, a gas station shooting in Tennessee, and Madonna making some tour changes involving Music City. That and more coming up at 4. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, let's take a look at the markets and see where things stand. The markets closed about an hour ago. Dow Jones Industrials down 361 points. The S&P down 51. The NASDAQ down 157. All screens are vibrantly red today. So, John Maxon over at Beacon Capital Management, tell us what's driving the market today.
Well, I tell you what, Brian, really get a picture of how globally connected the markets are. Started really positive in the U.S. where retail sales they just really beat the expectations by quite a lot, 0.7 versus expectations of 0.4. So you'd expect it to be a really positive day in the market, but you're balancing out against China that came out with some really bad data today in terms of what's happening with their economy. And kind of the concern is that the consumer here in America may be strong, at least in retail, but that the Chinese economy is gonna hold over. And kind of lost in the tea leaves was a really negative number on manufacturing out of New York, where that went from 1.1 last month to negative 19. So later in the week, some more earnings that we're going to watch really closely.
All right. Thank you, John Maxon. Learn more about all the things that they can do for you over at Beacon Capital Management by going to their website, Ask Beacon Now. Right now, it is 59 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. All right, one of the hardest things we see as we grow older is that our parents are growing older too. Our loved ones are getting to an age where they begin to struggle with the day-to-day things that were once so simple but now become difficult. It reminds us that they are approaching an age where they will need more and more help every day. And this is where assisted family care can help. They can connect you with the most responsible, compassionate helper to assist you with your loved one's daily needs. And if your loved one is a veteran or a spouse or a widow of a veteran, they could very well qualify for a little-known benefit to help cover these types of expenses. Assisted Family Care has years of experience in helping those in Middle Tennessee who qualify to get access to this benefit. Many veterans are eligible to receive up to 20 hours a day of living assistance at no cost to them. Not everyone's eligible, but if you're a veteran with wartime service, you may well qualify for the benefit, or maybe your spouse. But the application process is not easy. Don't worry, Assisted Family Care can help. Assisted Family Care is there for you. Visit assistedfamilycare.com or call this number, 615-833-9725.
.402, I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. 81 degrees, no rain in sight this week. Complete weather and traffic report in 5 minutes. Tennessee Representative William Lamberth joined WTN's The Matt Murphy Show today and discussed an important bill that's up for vote in this upcoming special session, the fire alarm bill.
We have become almost kind of hardwired in that when a fire alarm goes off, okay, get the kids lined up, get them out in the hallway, get them out of the school. But that fire alarm going off can mean that there's an active shooter in the building. It can mean there's an inclement weather, a tornado or something that's going on. It can mean there's a bomb threat. It can mean many different things. And this bill requires every single school district in the state to train their teachers, their students, their staff, their substitute teachers to differentiate between those different disasters and issues when they hear a fire alarm.
Lambert said no red flag laws will be passed at this special session. Over in the White House, this week begins to cancel longstanding student loan debt for many borrowers. Olivia Dalton offering an update.
This week, those 804,000 borrowers who have been in repayment for over 20 years will start to see their student debt canceled. Over 614,000 of them will have all of their remaining federal student loan debt canceled once this action is complete.
Right now in Tennessee, police are looking for the suspect of a gas station shooting. This happened last night. It was in Millersville at a Shell station where there were shots fired in the women's bathroom. Police weren't aware of the shooting until this morning. Night shift employees actually cleaned up the crime scene. Officers are now searching for a male suspect and a female victim. Staying here in the volunteer state, the Metro Council tonight could vote to advance a resolution to make permanent the use of license plate reader cameras to fight crime. District 26's Courtney Johnston on WTN's Nashville's Morning News pushed back at what she says is a narrative by a small group of people that low-income and minority areas are unfairly targeted, even though that's where maps show the highest crime rates.
I think we've learned in this last election, every time we talked about what are people's concerns throughout the county, public safety is the number one concern of people that live in Nashville.
Johnson says the resolution will go before the next council 2 more times before license plate reader camera use by police is permanent. And some entertainment news, pop star Madonna has canceled her upcoming Nashville show due to scheduling conflicts. The show was scheduled for December 22nd as a part of her global The Celebration Tour. All fans who purchase tickets will receive refunds. And that's the latest news. Traffic and weather on the way next. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
We are live at J Street Grill and Bar. This was a fantastic experience. We're cooking everything in front of us right here at the table. We've had ribeye, J Street's famous steak. We had lemon pepper chicken. We had bulgogi. I'm probably butchering it, but I asked like 3 or 4 times how to pronounce it. So it's not for a lack of trying. But you need to try and get out here August 15th. We're going to have a live event, Super Talk Live. Brian Wilson's going to be doing his show. Me, Dan Mandis, Matt Furphy, Pamela Fur, Johnny B. Everybody's going to be here. We're going to cook at the table. We're going to talk politics. All you can eat food. And believe me, look at this spread. When they say all you can eat, it's all you can eat. So join us. Grab your tickets at 997WTN.com. Promo code Chris. And if you need help cooking your steak, I'm here for you. Let's do this thing together.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. 8 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I'm Brian Wilson, not coming to you from bucolic Watertown, as usually is the case. I am coming to you from the J Street Korean Grill and Bar in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Very happy to be here for the big hoo-ha thing that's going to happen a little bit later tonight. Let me give you a rundown on everything that is going to happen. As you know, the drive goes usually till 7 o'clock. Tonight, I'll continue my regular programming. The drive will be actually probably up until 6 o'clock. And then everybody will crash the boards like a good basketball game. Dan Mandis, who I can't imagine playing basketball at all. Chris Hand, Matt Murphy, Johnny B., Pamela Fur, everybody will be here. A good time will be had by all. And since it's still early before we get ready for that big deal, in the 4 o'clock hour, if you want to drop by here in Hendersonville and shake my hand during the commercial break, man, I'd love to see you. Had some people come by and do that, and so we would love to have you join us as well. There are tickets still available for this at 997WTN.com. You can even maybe walk up and get a ticket at the door. We have a few seats left open, I am told, and you can just mention the word Chris, and you'll get $15 off. And Chris, I just want you to know, Chris Weber, I am looking forward to my bulgogi.
Your what now?
My bulgogi.
I don't know what that is, but it sounds delicious.
Well,
Sounds
you got to
great.
have some beef bulgogi, or maybe some Hawaiian beef bulgogi.
Ooh, yes.
Or some pork bulgogi.
Just bring it all. Yeah, that sounds delicious.
This is an amazing place. It's a huge place, by the way, and the food, as I understand it, is cooked right there at your table, and you're going to have a great time. Excuse me. A good time will be had by all. So just come on down if you have time tonight to join us for dinner. Like I said, a few tickets are still available. If you have a moment, just pop your head in and say hello. Between now and then, we would love to have you. And again, it sounds like everybody will be here starting in the 6 o'clock hour, so you don't want to miss that. I want to move on to the 2024 campaign election and give you some rundown on how things have been shaping up and some things that are happening. The one thing that let's just run through some of the numbers. Right now, if you look at the national polls for Republicans, there's just, I don't know how to put it. There is nobody who can touch Trump. The most recent numbers that have came in on about 2 days ago. The Morning Consult poll, and it has Trump leading, and I'm not making this up, by a total of some 41 points. 41 points. Wow. I don't know how you make up 41 points if you are Ron DeSantis. So it would be Trump 57, DeSantis 16. Third place right now is Ramaswamy at about, according to Morning Consult poll, 9. Pence at 7, Haley at 3, Scott at 3, Christie at 3, Hutchison at 1, and others at 1 or less. So it is still, on average, if you say 41 points, well, that's a lot. Well, if you take all of the recent polls and average them together, we're talking about a poll where Donald Trump still leads by 39.5 points. I mean, how in the world do you overcome that? And what this tells me is, Democrats, you can continue to do whatever you want to do, like you did last night. You can throw down more indictments. You can cause all kinds of headaches. You can do whatever you want to do. It's just not impacting us at all because people just don't care. People on the Republican side of the equation still overwhelmingly want Donald Trump to be their nominee. And when you lead by 41 points, I think, well, first of all, he's not going to show up at that August 23rd debate. What? Are you crazy? Why would you do that? So he's not going to do that. And I think that, the real question is, how in the world can anybody else gain any ground? Well, maybe somebody scores a big punch. somebody scores a big chunk while Trump is not on the debate stage. Somebody, does something that really resonates with the American people. That could change things, but generally not 41 points. I mean, that's a lot. And the whole thing, could come unraveled somehow by something that happens. But this seems like it's sort of set. Nothing has changed since these numbers largely started being collected. Trump has a huge lead. He still has a huge lead. And it doesn't matter what the Democrats throw at him. He is still held in very high regard by the rank and file of the Republican Party. So there is that. I wanted to look very quickly, if I could, at some of the other numbers, because I wanted to make sure that we got a chance to look at the first two states. I'm pulling them up on my computer. I'm sorry. Here we go. Iowa. Right now in Iowa, Trump still leads by 27 points. Now, Iowa is different because they're hearing from all of the candidates. People are starting to go into Iowa and make their case and make their pitch. The Iowa State Fair is going on right now, so a lot of that is going on. The latest, well, I'll just give you the average. The average in Iowa right now in Republicans would be that Trump would lead by 27 points. Trump 44, DeSantis 17, Scott 9.7, Ramaswamy 5.3, Haley 4, Pence 3, Christie 2.7, and the rest hardly registering at all. Those are the averages in Iowa. Okay, let me go back and take a look at New Hampshire. Because if these folks have been out there pounding the pavement in both of these states, trying to make a name, an identification with them, and try to identify with folks. In New Hampshire, Trump 42, DeSantis 14. Trump leads by 28.3 points. So it's 42.3 for Trump, 14 for DeSantis, 7 for Christie, 7 for Scott, Burgum 5, Ramaswamy 4.7, Haley at 4.0. The rest also Rand. Pence at 1.3. Former Vice President Mike Pence, not really resonating at all with Republican voters in the state of New Hampshire. And so I just don't see anything changing the tune for Donald Trump. It looks pretty strong for him right now. And so there are the basic numbers. What changes it? I don't think anything changes it. It would be a miracle to me. People, when you have been leading by that much for that long, it seems to me that it's going to be really, really hard for somebody to make an argument that causes you to change your mind. These numbers, I wouldn't say they're cast in iron or cast in stone. I would simply say it's going to take an awful lot, something that I don't see or on the horizon, to make people want to walk away from, Donald Trump if you are a Republican voter. Now, one of the things that's really concerning to Democrats right now, in addition to, they're obviously very worried that Donald Trump is just going to, wipe up the place with a very weak and hiding Joe Biden. The man never comes out of his basement anymore, never talks to reporters, not even going to go over to Hawaii right now. He's going to stay here. You can't even be bothered to go. As I heard, I think it was Chris Hand say today, the only beach that Joe Biden is concerned about is not in Hawaii, it's in Delaware, Rehoboth. And I think that's true. Democrats warn of a unique threat, however, as they look askance and with concern at something known as the No Labels Party, a third option. Now, No Labels is an organization that could field an independent candidate in the 2024 presidential race, has already secured ballot access in 7 states, with North Carolina being the last to join. No Labels intends to establish the groundwork to run an alternative candidate for the 2024 presidential race if it turns into a rematch of Donald Trump and Joe Biden. The organization's leadership, composed of both Republicans and Democrats, basically they're saying if you are one of those people that says a pox on both your houses, then maybe you would find interest in whatever the no labels people put forward. Who would they most likely put forward? I think the answer to that question is likely Joe Manchin of West Virginia. Would that be something that would change the race? Maybe, but I just don't think that. Is Joe Manchin charismatic? No. Is Joe Manchin somebody who has some interesting ideas? Every once in a while, he's got something pretty interesting. He's been interesting. He's been pretty effective at playing both sides against the middle right now in the Senate. But will actually people, will Republicans run toward a guy like Joe Manchin? No. Would Democrats who look at Joe Biden as a very weak a man who is barely able to put together a sentence, would they look at him as somebody that perhaps that they would like to find another option for? Yeah. So the thing that is really worrying the Democrats right now is nothing seems to hurt Trump. They throw everything they got at him, and he's like bulletproof. The bullets just bounce off like Superman's chest. There's nothing that is resonating with the people who like Trump. And then on top of that, they've got a weak leader, and they've got this guy out there, Joe Manchin, who might actually become, a third-party candidate in the No Labels party. They've got more concerns than we have. I don't think that this robs Republicans at all. I think it robs Democrats who are already concerned about having a weak presidential candidate, a man who can't even find it within himself to come to the microphones and say a few words about the tragedy in Maui, Hawaii, and talk about that. I mean, he can't even do that because he's afraid that somebody's going to ask him about Hunter Biden or something else. I don't know. One way or the other, he's not coming to the microphones. He's not being seen very often. He's about to begin a campaign that will be operated from the basement of his home in Wilmington, Delaware. I think they are more concerned about this third-party option than any Republican should be. 20 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Let me tell you about the folks over at USS, where they guarantee their best. This is a company that can help you if you have problems with the foundation of your home or waterproofing issues. Listen, this can be big, scary stuff. And, here's the truth. It could be something big, needs to be fixed. Could be a small problem that will become bigger over time. Could be nothing. Bottom line is you don't know. You don't have the training for it. What you need is somebody who will come and be honest with you and tell you what's really going on, tell you what it will take to make it right, and somebody you can trust. And for my money, that's USS. They will come out to your house and they'll do an assessment. They're not trying to sell you something that you don't need. They have no sale quotas. They just are problem solvers. Here's your problem. Here's the solution. And if you like to go forward, you don't pay a penny until the job is done and you're completely satisfied. USS has been in business for 25 years. Good people. Some have been there from the very start, still there. We guarantee our best. Call USS, serving Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, Western Kentucky, Northern Alabama, online at USSTN.com. Or call this number, 615-488-7855.
A test sample indictment goes public. More jobs on the way in Nashville. And today's Money News, those stories coming up at 4:30. I'm Mac Morey right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I think we all should just, continue to focus on the word of the day, which is bulgogi. Is that it?
Yes.
You said I was pronouncing it wrong.
Yeah, I did get a text from someone that was correcting you, and I looked it up, and the official pronunciation is
bulgogi.
Bulgogi.
There you go.
Well,
bulgogi.
We like that word, and it's just a fun word to say. Can us all just say it together? Everybody in unison. 1, 2, 3. Bulgogi.
Bulgogi.
Bulgogi. And it's going to be fun. I mean, they bring out the food to your table here, and they place it before you. And in the center of the table is sort of a recessed grill, and I guess you stick it with a stick and you put it in there, and then you cook it up. And so when you pull it out, if you burn it, it's your own dadgum fault.
Oh,
because you're cooking this, right? I mean, they bring you what you order, and then you cook it up. And what does that tell you? Number one, it's going to be fresh when you eat it. It's going to be, hot right off the fire, and so that's good stuff. And bulgogi is I don't know exactly. I think it has to do with the spice that they'd use, but it's good stuff, and I love it. And I'm going to have some bulgogi. Did I get them right? Bulgogi.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay,
bulgogi.
Bulgogi. I'm going to have some of that here in just a short while. I'm going to try to get some before everybody else gets here. Because, they'll bring a big plate over, I'm sure, to the folks, the radio folks. But, if you don't grab quick, that Matt Murphy and he'll just clean the plate out, you give him 10 seconds, and there won't be anything left on that plate.
You put food down in front of radio people, it's going to be gone quickly.
That is absolutely true. That's absolutely true. Listen, there's sort of a really important announcement that was made today. If you are one of those who likes to fly in and out of B&A on Southwest Airlines, listen to this from the Tennessean. Southwest Airlines has announced the addition of a crew base at Nashville International Airport next year that will more than double the number of airline staff based locally. This will be Southwest Airlines' 12th U.S. crew hub, which will increase the number of local staff to include up to 600 pilots and 700 flight attendants by mid-2024. That's not that far down the path. Hundreds of Southwest employees who work in the air or on the ground already consider their hometown to be Middle Tennessee. But now you're talking about making it a crew hub, which really speaks, I think, of Southwest Airlines' commitment to the Nashville area. Here is Southwest Airlines Chief Operating Officer Andrew Watterson. Given our love for Nashville and the critical importance it plays in our network, it's a natural choice to make further investments by adding a crew base and doubling down on our commitment to Music City. They will reload ticket counters and improve the overall winter preparedness as well. And so this is exciting. Governor Bill Lee says, as a top global travel destination and business hub, Tennessee is the ideal location for Southwest Airlines' newest crew base, and we look forward to continued economic investment, job creation for newly based jobs, and opportunity this expansion will bring for Tennesseans across the region. Now, when you say a crew base, when you are flying on Southwest Airlines and they say, welcome to Orlando, this is the home of this particular flight crew. Well, that's where they live. So when you start adding a bunch of pilots and actual flight attendants and that kind of thing, they will actually be living here in the Nashville area. They'll, I guess, in many cases, be relocating, and that's a heck of a deal for the economy, I'm telling you. And not only that, it seems to me that when you see Southwest Airlines making that kind of investment here in Middle Tennessee, it means that they're going to be bringing in more flights, they're going to be bringing in more destinations, and that's only a good thing for a growing airport that's just gone through a major renovation and still going through a major renovation, but you're getting close. I think this is a great thing. It speaks to the continued vibrance of the economy in this particular area. And because it's a destination and it's a nice jumping off place. It's nice to have an airport where you can, get on a plane and go anywhere you want to go. And by becoming a hub for pilots and flight crews, that is more likely to be the case for Southwest Airlines. 30 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock.
.430, I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. 82 degrees in Nashville. Full weather forecast. Latest traffic report on the way in 5 minutes. Breaking news from Channel 4. A barricaded suspect shot and injured a Clarksville police officer. Police right now have a perimeter set up. This is on Union Hall Drive and White Oak Drive. They're trying to negotiate with the suspect, who officials say is an active threat. That officer is said to have non-life-threatening injuries from the shooting, and surrounding roads there in Clarksville are closed as this incident gets worked out. More jobs coming to Nashville. Governor Lee says Southwest Airlines will locate its newest crew base at Nashville International Airport starting next year. It means an additional 1,300 jobs for Tennesseans, including 500 to 600 pilots and 500 to 700 flight attendants. Now over to the money news, Daria Albinger.
Stocks tumbled around the world as the latest data from China raised worries about the global economy. The Dow plunged 361 points, the Nasdaq gave up 157, and the S&P fell 52. Heading into the year, it was anticipated China's economy would grow enough after the government lifted COVID restrictions, but that hasn't been the case. In fact, China's economy faltered enough that it unexpectedly cut a key interest rate and skipped a report on how many of its younger workers are unemployed. There were a few bright spots, though. The Commerce Department says retail sales rose a better than expected 0.7% from June to July. WeWork is closer to being out of work. The workspace sharing company pointing toward ongoing issues like worker churn and financial losses. Think you'll need a student loan to pay for you or your kids' college? You're far from alone. The Federal Reserve says 30% of all U.S. adults incurred at least some education-related debt.
And this just in, a student at Lebanon High School set off a firecracker today in the bathroom. No injuries were there, and that student received a citation. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather on the way. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
We are live at J Street Free Grill and Bar. This was a fantastic experience. We're cooking everything in front of us right here at the table. We've had ribeye, J Street's famous steak. We had lemon pepper chicken. We had bulgogi. I'm probably butchering it, but I asked like 3 or 4 times how to pronounce it. So it's not for a lack of trying. But you need to try and get out here August 15th. We're going to have a live event, Super Talk Live. Brian Wilson's going to be doing his show. Me, Dan Mandis, Matt Furphy, Pamela Fur, Johnny B. Everybody's going to be here. We're going to cook at the table. We're going to talk politics. All you can eat food. And believe me, look at this spread. When they say all you can eat, it's all you can eat. So join us. Grab your tickets at 997WTN.com. Promo code Chris. And if you need help cooking your steak, I'm here for you. Let's do this thing together.
Let me tell you, if I could, about the folks over at Nashville Gold and Coin. If you have a desire to add gold or silver to your portfolio, listen up. Nashville Gold and Coin, it's the place where you can buy real, actual, hold it in your hand, gold, silver, or bullion. It's the place that I do business, and this is the place that I recommend. You'll get honest, friendly customer service and real precious metals education. And they also specialize in the buying and selling and appraising of coins. Do you have any idea how much those old coins you have laying around might be worth? I brought in a few silver coins I had in a shoebox buried in my sock drawer, and it turned out to be worth $1,652. So whether you're in the market to purchase precious metals or just want to find out what those coins in your closet might be worth, schedule a one-on-one consultation today. Just go to NashvilleGoldandCoin.com. That's NashvilleGoldandCoin.com. 37 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Brian Wilson in the chair and on the air. You're listening to The Drive on this, the 15th day of August. Payday for many people, halfway through the month. Hey, that's good stuff right there. Listen, I just want to mention that we're here today at the J Street Korean Grill and Bar in Hendersonville, where we're going to have the, oh my gosh, people are, ladies and gentlemen, entering the building right now. Say hello to Pamela Fur walking in the door. Hey, Pamela. And over here, Johnny B just walked in the door. Things are starting to happen. Things are starting to pop here at the J Street Korean Grill and Bar in Hendersonville. So, and listen, the dinner, you have to have a ticket for dinner to sit down and participate in that part of it. But if you just want to pop your head in for a few minutes and say hello, we would love to say hello to you. And we'd like to talk to you about something that we think is going to be really exciting, and that is bulgogi. Can we all say it together one more time? Because it just has a great ring to it. I want a big old plate of bulgogi.
Bulgogi.
Bulgogi, that's right. I'm surprised they knew how to pronounce it over there. Now we got Johnny B in the house. We got Pamela Fur walking in the door. A lot of people are going to be showing up here in the next few minutes. So if you're in the neighborhood here in Hendersonville, a guy came by a little while ago, Chris, and he said, I had to come over and shake your hand. I was in the car outside in the parking lot in front of the Hobby Lobby, and the wife was inside. I get this because I never will go into a Hobby Lobby. I always wait outside. I don't know. It goes back to traumatic things that happened to me as a child, I think. But I won't go into a Hobby Lobby, but I will sit outside. And so he was sitting outside. I heard on the radio, and he realized, hey, that's right over there.
Right next door.
And so he walked over and shook my hand and went back to the parking lot to wait on his wife like a good husband should. So there's that. So, if you know where the Hobby Lobby is in Hendersonville, we're right next door. Love for you to come by and say hello and shake our hands. And then the dinner will start. Our big round table discussion will start at 6. And again, it will be Dan Mandis, Chris Hand, Matt Murphy, Johnny B, Pamela Fur, and me. And I'll be all out of things to say by that time, but I'll try to come up with something, something sort of witty, something that, is memorable. I'll do my best. And this is a great thing. Bulgogi, and then the folks are here from Oil Fire Whiskey, and they've got samples for everybody, so you definitely want to come by for that. And they cook, you will actually cook this food right at your own table. So Cabana Wife will be here later, and she's going to cook mine, because I'll be in the middle of an important radio broadcast. Anyway, things are starting to pop over here, and we would love to have you come by. What are the Democrats, what are going to be the policy issues that the Democrats burrow in on and decide that they're going to carry forward as the important issues in this campaign? Well, for many people within the sound of my voice, this should be a little concerning, but I think it will not work well for them, honestly. I think this is going to be something that will backfire on them, but nonetheless, here you go. From BearingArms.com, President Joe Biden's campaign preparing to make gun safety a central issue of his re-election campaign, and that will start with the official approval soon and big rollout of a new executive action to massively expand background checks for gun purchases, multiple aides involved have told CNN. Long sought by gun safety advocates, the executive action, which Biden set in motion in March, would expand the definition of which gun sellers are required to comply with federal licensing and background check requirements. It is seen by both proponents and opponents as the most that can be done toward establishing universal background checks without new legislation. Well, why don't they just do it the honest way? Why don't they just do it the honest way? Why don't they just take it to Congress? Why is everything in this administration done by executive action that then gets overturned by appellate courts or the Supreme Court? Couldn't we just, I don't know. I remember, Schoolhouse Rock. I remember how a bill becomes a law. It's not that hard. It's a process. Well, they don't do it because they know they can't do it because that's not where the American people are. But it is something that will resonate well within the far left wing of the Democrat Party, and so they're going to glom onto it and they're going to go forward with it. Let's see. It will be seen by both proponents and opponents as the most that can be done toward establishing universal background checks. It may be approved soon. White House aides are still planning a larger event to officially announce it with the president going into the fall, with more campaign-related events centered on guns likely as well. I mean, this is what the left wants to do. If this what they want to run on, let's see how that lays out there with the American people. Let's see who that resonates with. I'm not sure it's going to resonate with a whole lot of people that they're thinking are going to be there, but it will resonate with a certain part of the left. And by the way, it is something that Joe Biden definitely feels strongly about. This may be coming mostly from Joe Biden, because every time he gets a chance, he talks about needing we need to do universal background checks. He's got the whole 9 yards. The new definition is basically anyone who makes a profit selling guns will now be categorized as a dealer. And here's how profit is defined. Let's say, for example, I buy a gun for $400. A year or two later, the going rate for that gun is $500 due to inflation. That's an increase of $100. But is that a profit? The argument can be made that if the increase is due to inflation, then no. The question is whether the ATF will see it as profit, though whether economists would agree. And so if the ATF, they don't care about the economic definition of what a profit is. They only care about, their definition. If the ATF says, okay, you buy a gun for $400 and it's now worth $500, then, there you go. The argument can be made that if it's made to inflation, then no. Even if the ATF figures the inflationary increases are not profit, people are still going to run into problems because most people aren't going to figure out exactly what's going on. How much of the increase is due to inflation. So they'll just sell through a gun store and likely avoid the hassle. There are some avenues where this isn't a true universal background check, and that's good news. Loaning firearms to a friend or family member does not constitute making a profit, and thus are exempt from any such requirements. Also, buying a new gun and selling it at a depreciated value later on is still exempt from any requirement because it's pretty clear there wasn't a profit, though admittedly with inflation being as stupid as it's been, the depreciated value could theoretically appear higher than the new price. Depends on how you do the math. The bottom line is the Biden campaign, because they know they can't get this done in a legitimate, straight up kind of way by going to Congress, getting somebody to carry a bill to the House in the Senate. It's just not going to go anywhere. The House will never buy into this. And I'm not even sure the Senate would. The Democrats control the Senate, but there are a lot of Democrats who definitely would not be in favor of something like this. But guns are on the agenda. Guns are definitely on the agenda as we go forward. And so there you have it, something that will be coming in the next few days. And so, what else are the Democrats going to be talking about? All kinds of stuff. Let's see. The election of 2024. Let's see, I'm just looking for this. I'm not in my regular studio, so I'm trying to find the things that I was looking at earlier. One way or the other. Okay, so anyway, guns, big deal there. So what else is going to be happening out there that will drive the debate in the days ahead? I don't know. I think we're in for a remarkably volatile election cycle. Anger is at a level at which I cannot recall in all the years that I've been covering politics, and I've been covering politics for quite a few years. There's something going on out there. There's a palpable anger, one side against the other. Why? Because it seems that the Democrats and the Republicans play off of each other. The Democrats, are out there trying to stir up something that would anger the right, and the Republicans are out there trying to find stuff that will anger the left. And it's just, boy, the anger of the electorate is just burbling beneath the surface. I keep coming back to this song that we've been playing in the last few days, the Richmond north of Richmond. And I don't want to read too much into it, but I mean, you've got to understand that this is a song that came out of nowhere. Somebody did a YouTube video, and days later, it's number one on iTunes. And the downloads, I think last time I heard, some 11 million people have heard the song and have downloaded the song. And it talks about how, sort of a pox on both of your houses. There's something out there that's different this time than what we have seen in the past. And I think that anger is just an inch beneath the surface, that it won't take much to really make people, just sound off. How will that play out in an election cycle? I don't know. I know this. I know that the people out there who care deeply about politics, I think they're sort of settling into, if you're a Republican, you realize that it's going to be Donald Trump. As a Democrat, though, I don't think that they have an idea of who that's going to be. And I think that the support, and you talk about how the anger may be burbling right beneath the surface, but I think the other part of it for Democrats is that their support of Joe Biden is about a mile wide and an inch deep. There's not a lot of depth and passion. They are sticking with their guy because they look at him and they realize, well, he's the train leaving the station. He's the horse that, has been saddled, so let's ride this horse. But I don't think that he's going to become the nominee. I'm not alone in that. There are a lot of other people who don't think he's going to become the nominee. And as we go forward, it seems to me that Donald Trump, will definitely be the Republican nominee. I'm not sure who's going to be the Democrat nominee. It may be Biden, but I have a sense it's going to be somebody else. And who that person is, I can't even begin to tell you. But people are, I guess because there's such anger burbling right beneath the surface, it would seem to me that this whole thing could change in a big hurry under the right circumstances. Today, Republicans are pretty hacked off. They're hacked off at what the Democrats in Georgia have done. They brought more charges, and we'll talk about that coming up in the next hour, I assure you. It is 50 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Let me tell you about the Nashville Armory Ranges, 2 locations for your convenience. The Nashville Armory is at 4290 Kenilworth Drive in Nashville. Over 15,000 square feet, which combines retail, classrooms, and, of course, pistol and rifle-rated ranges, so you can learn to become proficient and stay that way. The second location, the Franklin Range at 390 South Winds Drive. There you'll find 10 state-of-the-art shooting ranges equipped with automated target control and custom shooting stalls that provide a virtually private shooting experience. And the folks who work there, well, they pride themselves on hiring folks with the expertise to advise experienced shooters, but they also have the patience to guide those who are new to the two-way world. No attitude and no pressure. By the way, gunsmithing is back at the Nashville Range. If you're buying your first gun or adding to the collection, you'll find a wide selection of new and pre-owned firearms, suppressors, optics, apparel, and shooting accessories. It's a place to buy. It's a place to train. It's a place to become a really good shot. To learn more, go to armoryranges.com. And please let them know that your friend and radio buddy Brian Wilson sent you.
Hey folks, Paul Winkler here. One of the things I like to do for investors is educate them, because the more educated I believe that you are as an investor, the more peace of mind you have, the less you worry, and the more successful you're likely to be as an investor. So here goes another education. If we look at a lot of these investment portfolios, like these target date funds out there or portfolios put together by big mutual fund companies, they'll often use something called a total market fund. And you think, wow, I own the whole market in one mutual fund. Matter of fact, there's a really popular video out there on YouTube that says you can get by with just a couple mutual funds and you can be totally diversified. Nothing could be further from the truth. What's going on here is this. One of the things we know as an investor is that you have small companies out there and you have large companies out there. You have growth companies and you have value companies. I taught this in a previous video. We expect more return from small companies than we do large because they have to pay more to use your money historically. Value companies have to pay more to use your money historically as well. Now, what happens with total market funds is they weight based on the size of the company. Well, that would mean that a bigger company would represent more of the portfolio. So graphically, it would look something like this. The fund would look like this. That there's a ton of money in really big companies and there's almost no money in really small companies in those portfolios. So it's not really diversified. Do they own them? Yeah, they own them, but they almost have no money in them. So when these do really well, you're not really getting the benefit from it. What we would be better served doing is investing in various areas of the market and holding different types of funds to be more balanced between these areas. That's what academic research shows us, is if we can hold these areas more separately, then we end up with a better risk-return experience. So this is one of the things that we teach people. We like for you to understand this because the more you understand it, the less you're pulled astray from the investing industry that's typically all about selling you things. Yeah, total market fund, it sounds really good. Not necessarily so great in practice. Now, if you want to find out a little bit more and learn more about investing so that you're a more educated investor, why don't you take us up on a free 15-minute phone call? Go to paulwinkler.com. It's paulwinkler.com. You can set up one in any of our offices, our 10 offices around the Nashville area. There's one near you, most likely. Set that up. Come see us. We love to educate investors. I think you'll be happy you did.
I mean, who watches linear TV anymore? I mean, honestly, I think a lot of people are now just deciding that they're just going to stream it whenever they want to watch it, and that's what's That's what people are doing more and more and more. Listen, Brian Wilson and I am coming to you live from the J Street Korean Grill and Bar in Hendersonville. Johnny B's in the house, Pamela Fur in the house, and the rest of the team will be arriving ere long. So why don't you come on by if you're in the neighborhood and shake our hands before the dinner starts. And by the way, if you want to join us for dinner, there's still time for all of that. We have tickets can be purchased at the door, and use the promo code CHRIS to get a big discount. I think it's a $15 discount on the dinner. And boy, I'm telling you what, if you haven't had any bulgogi, did I say it right? Bulgogi, you haven't lived. But anyway, we'll be ready to do that. It's now 58 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Let me tell you about the Wellness Institute of Nashville. They've been around for a long time. You know, Dr. Kevin Mitchell is not only my doctor. I do these commercials for him, but he's also my doctor. I go there and I get the treatments. The thing that's most important down there is the non-surgical spinal decompression. That's what he's known for, non-surgical spinal decompression. And so if you go in there, if you got pain in your arms, your legs, your back, some kind of tingling or pain in your extremities, this could very well be the therapy that could put you back in the right direction. They've got another technology that they've just developed. Dr. Kevin Mitchell and Dr. Ashley Mitchell now offer the first of its kind KT machine. It's like spinal decompression for your knee. It elongates the knee and the joint and allows the meniscus and the cartilage to receive the healing therapy without the need for painkillers. $23 is what it costs to get your first exam if you're a new patient. Exam, consultation, x-rays if needed. Bring in an MRI. Dr. Mitchell will go over your condition and then also lay out a therapy plan for you, and then you get started. Again, your first consult, if you're a new patient, is only $23. 615-246-5009. Learn more at painisbad.com. 99.7. I'm Brian Wilson coming to you live from the J Street Korean Grill and Bar in Hendersonville, where we're doing a live remote tonight. We have everybody's going to be here at about 6 o'clock. And if you've got a ticket, come on down. If you want to get a ticket, I understand a few more can be purchased at the door. The promo code is Chris to save a buck or two on all that. And it's going to be great food. It's going to be great fellowship. Already Pamela Fur is in the building. Johnny B is in the building. I expect that others will be arriving over the course of the next few minutes. So we look forward to everybody getting here and carrying on. Let me get a sip of water here, if I could. I'm not in my regular studio. So I have to, do things a little differently. Here we go. What is our top story? Our top story today has to be, of course, what happened last night in Atlanta with the filing of additional charges against Donald Trump. Now, look, I'm not going to sit here and waste your time and wring my hands and tell you this is a horrible thing. I don't think it is. I think this is what the Democrats have just decided that they're going to do. They're going to do everything they can to try to take take Donald Trump to the woodshed from a legal standpoint, and see what they can do to try to knock him down a peg. I got to tell you right now, if you're a Democrat and you look across at what's happening, you've got to be really concerned. You've got to be really concerned because, Republicans don't care that you added a few more indictments against Donald Trump. They don't care at all. If you're a fan of Donald Trump's, you're going to continue to be a fan of Donald Trump's. None of that is going to change. Nothing about that is going to change. And you can throw indictments and you can try to, do everything you can to muddy the waters, but that's not going to change anything. The Republicans in this country are committed to Donald Trump, and I don't see that changing at all. Compare and contrast that with where the Democrats are. The Democrats, quite frankly, have got a candidate who is, he may have support, but it's only because that's the only train that seems to be leaving the station right now. I don't think that Joe Biden will ultimately be the Democrat nominee, but it's unclear who that might be going forward. And he's got no support. He's got, look at the things that they are now having to defend on the other side of the equation. The economy, that's the number one. When you're the president of the United States, you're responsible for the economy, and it's in the toilet. Inflation continues to be a problem, although it has come down, I grant you. It's not keeping up with wages. And if you need any evidence at all that Americans are struggling with this economy, then just look at the response to that song, Richmond, North of Richmond, where they talk about the common man, the common working guy, the blue-collar guy, and how difficult it is to put food on the table and to have a car to drive to work and put a roof over your head and clothes on your back. That resonates with so many people because it's difficult if you're a working guy out there just trying to make a living. So Democrats have to defend that. Democrats have to defend the high price of gasoline. They have to, and I'm telling you, it's going to go up. And by the way, when it goes up, you know what happens? Inflation goes back up again. We're headed for higher inflation simply because oil and gas prices are going up, and nothing ripples through an economy more quickly than an increase in the cost of fuel. They have to defend the nightmare on the border. Even Democrats in major cities are not pleased with this administration when it comes to their border patrol policies. And look at New York. They're screaming. Major cities all across the country, even though they said they were sanctuary cities, are now criticizing the Biden administration's policies. So they've got to deal with that, angering both Republicans and Democrats, I think, in many cases. And inflation. I mentioned inflation is going to be one of the driving issues as we go forward. So, what is in this indictment? I got a story here I think sort of lays it all out pretty effectively. A 98-page indictment that according to thehill.com, that allegedly outlines Trump's pressure campaign against numerous Georgia officials, and a plot to submit false slates of electors over lawsuits with faulty claims. Okay, so were they faulty claims? Look, you and I know that there were things that happened in the last election cycle that just simply were not copacetic. They simply were not above board and honest. The problem is when you're in a position to challenge these things in a way that could actually change the outcome of an election, it's difficult. It's hard. It's really, really hard to do that. Why? Because the clock is ticking. Tick tock, tick tock. You know when Election Day is, and you know when January 20th is, and you know when January 6th is. You don't have a lot of time to do a very detailed, deep-running investigation. That's the problem. You just don't have the time. But Trump says that he's been working on it since. And listen to this. This is from the Post Millennial, but it really is from Donald Trump and directly from Truth Social. A large, complex, detailed but irrefutable report on the presidential election fraud, which took place in Georgia, is almost complete and will be presented by me at a major news conference at 11 a.m. on Monday of next week in Bedminster, New Jersey. Based on the results of this conclusive report, all charges should be dropped against me and others. There will be a complete exoneration. They never went after those that rigged the election. They only went after those who fought to find the riggers, end quote, Donald Trump. So he has apparently been working on it and says he's got a report. But you know what? This whole case that's been laid out here, it's a RICO case. This is the kind of case that you bring against white-collar criminal enterprises or against the mob. Ironically, the case is being brought not only against Donald Trump, but also about Rudy Giuliani. He's the man who taught everybody in the world about the RICO. He was the king of the RICO. So, I'm not sure that's the appropriate case here. When you're talking about a former president who I think only did what any of us would have done were we in his position. You know things are getting close. You're hearing all of these reports that there was, some monkey business going on, and that there were things that were quite right about the way votes were being counted in the state of Georgia. And Georgia is important to your electoral college process. So what do? You pick up the phone and you start looking for answers. You start looking for, explanations. You start trying to gather information. But, honestly, is that a crime? Is that a crime? Actually picking up the phone and asking questions, using your words? Or is that protected by free speech? I think it is. I mean, if you listen to what the Supreme Court has said about free speech, they say that political speech is the most important speech to be protected. The Supreme Court's very clear on that. Nothing has ever changed that. So, what are they doing? What are these Democrats down in the state of Georgia trying to do? I'll give it to you in very succinct order. The Democrats in Georgia are coming up with this massive lawsuit. They're bringing in 18 different people, and they're all going to try to make the case that Donald Trump, had a criminal enterprise. And the bottom line is the only thing that he did was ask questions, to make calls, to find out what was going on, to get information. I don't know how that's a violation of the law. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we'll see how this goes. But I don't think there's any there, just like I haven't thought there's much to any of these lawsuits. I think that they will evaporate under a good legal team, asking questions, challenging the different precepts that are in these lawsuits. I just don't think it's going to be much when it's all said and done. But they're throwing everything at Donald Trump. They're doing everything they can to try to find something, throwing everything they got against the wall and see, is there anything here that will stick? Is there anything here that will honestly, cause Donald Trump headaches. It doesn't hurt him with his electorate, but, can they hurt him in any way possible? On the other hand of the equation, I think you've got a Democrat candidate who may well have some serious legal issues about whether or not he took bribes. On one hand, a guy uses his words. What do they tell you when you're a kid? Don't, just use your words. Well, that's all that Donald Trump was doing, was using his words. Trying to use his right to find out what was going on, his free speech rights to find out what was going on in a campaign that was very close. And in the conversations, I think you find out there was a real serious concern that something wasn't right. And so he had reasons to ask the questions. I just don't think it's going to go anywhere. I don't think Donald Trump has got it. I don't think that they're going to be able to get anything on him, and I think it's just going to be wasted time. But we'll see how it all plays out. In the meantime, there is so much going on the other side of the equation. You got the House of Representatives continuing to bring in bank records. You have the House of Representatives continuing to do all kinds of things to try to get at the truth about Hunter Biden. But really, actually, what they're aimed at more is not Hunter Biden, but whether or not they can get something on Joe Biden. As we reported yesterday, I think the accurate way to portray that on that side of the equation is you got Donald Trump. I'm sorry, you got Joe Biden, who is the business, and you got Hunter Biden, who's the salesperson. And if the House continues to work on that, they're going to have a lot more luck with their attacks on Joe Biden than I think the Democrats are going to have on their multi-pronged attack on Donald Trump. It is now 20 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Let's talk about D.T. McCall's. Listen, I am a big fan of D.T. McCall and Sons. You go to my house and you look at the furniture and you look at this, that, and the other. I can just point thing after thing after thing that I got at D.T. McCall's. It's been a great experience. Why? Because you have a great selection of appliances, furnitures, anything that you really need for your house. You're going to find it at D.T. McCall's. They've been around for more than 100 years, and I think that it's safe to say you don't make it that far. You don't make it that far if you don't have a reputation for treating people right. Whenever possible, D.T. McCall's sells products that were made locally. The idea is to keep the money here in Middle Tennessee, and that's a good thing as well. So whatever it is you need for your house, whether it's appliances, furnitures, if you need a mower, man, I'm telling you, they got them. You need a gun safe, why not just give them a call or just look at their website. They'll tell you everything that they can do for your home there. It's dtmccalls.com. It is 24 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I'm done trying to talk about serious stuff. It's crazy in here. There's all kinds of noise, and rather than do that, let's just have some fun. That's what I want to do. Joining me now here at the dais is Pamela Fur, who I don't get to see very often. Hello, Pamela.
I know, we don't get to see one another, and you're looking great. Holy smokes, you look. Not that you looked large before, but
no, I was large and in charge. There's no doubt about that.
But you've lost a lot of. I've lost weight. You've lost weight. Everybody.
I did it. All you people who have these people that are helping you, I'd say that's the wimpy way to do it. Take on a case of shingles, baby, and lose 50 pounds. I'm down 50 pounds.
That's fantastic. You did it like a man. I love it.
Now, you were recently on a trip to Washington, D.C., and I was sort of curious about, your response. Did you get to do any sightseeing?
Sure. I did. I didn't get to do any during the day, but at night I had the opportunity to do whatever I wanted to. So I decided to do a night trolley tour of D.C. So I got to see all the monuments, the Capitol, the White House, all lit up at night. And that was honestly breathtaking. I had not done that before. Seen everything during the day. It's a completely different experience at night. It really is.
All of the major monuments are just lit up and beautiful, and the town, pretty much, downtown D.C. will sort of shut down about 6 o'clock. I mean, it's pretty much people are already out and headed home into the suburbs, and when it gets dark in the town, and you go like to the Jefferson Memorial at night, it's just remarkable.
I mean, all of it. It's simply stunning. And you forget, at least I did, that I'm walking around or driving around in the swamp. I'm actually at the place where I feel very patriotic. You know what I mean? That's what's the word? Inspired me, I guess. I kept thinking, these are where our forefathers were. Washington was. Jefferson.
On every corner is history.
Yeah, Lincoln here. So, no, I absolutely loved it. And I have to be honest, I teared up a little bit. It was overwhelming.
One of the things I like to do to people when I would take them on a nighttime tour of the city is I would walk them into the park. And they didn't have any idea where we were going. But it's dark, and you're just walking into a dark park, and then you take sort of a right turn up toward the Lincoln Memorial. And you just, I just would then sort of get quiet and let the other person understand that we are now walking along the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. And it just sort of sneaks up on you. And it's amazing to see people's emotional reaction to that.
Yeah, no kidding. I wish I would have done something like that. That would have been fantastic.
But I think you did right by doing it at night. Get the tourist out of the way. Go at night. It's a beautiful experience. The Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial, and just every corner there's something. There's one little corner where there's an amazing statue of sculpture of Albert Einstein, of all people.
No kidding.
And it's really one of my favorite things in Washington.
The other thing that I noticed while I was there too, because my Uber driver is taking me all around to get around traffic to get me to where I needed to go, and I noticed that a lot of people like to do lunches in the park, like picnic lunches in the park area or near I can't think of the Potomac, right? Yeah. So I noticed that. It's like, man, that would be a cool experience. Of course, it was also almost 100 degrees. I don't know that I would have done that in 100 degrees. But in the fall or in the spring, I think that would just be fantastic, knowing that you're surrounded by history and you're just there on the lawn taking it all in. I think that's awesome.
It's also great in the springtime during the cherry blossom season. The problem is that you can never know when if you're trying to plan a trip, when are the cherry blossoms going to pop? And you there've been many years where the cherry blossom festival was way after the cherry blossoms were gone. So
it's a little too late.
It's a little too late for that. But I mean, boy, there's nothing more beautiful than the Potomac and the walk around the monuments when all the cherry trees are in full blossom. It's look, we all have our feelings about what happens in Washington politically, but I think every American should have some time to go and visit these amazing memorials and to just see the history. I did it for a lot of years, and I never got tired of taking people downtown, especially at night.
Yeah, and I think it's well known because I've talked about it on the air before. So I'm starting to work for a company called Americans for Prosperity. And what was really cool was being in D.C., like I said, in the swamp, but knowing that there are organizations that are around there that are trying to keep them honest and still trying to do the best thing and the right thing for the American people. So I enjoyed being there last week, very much so.
Well, are you looking forward to the event tonight and having some bulgogi?
Well, I don't know what that is.
Well, that's meat. You have beef bulgogi, you have chicken bulgogi, or you have there's other kinds of bulgogi, and then
barbecue in Korean. Is that what it is?
Sort of like that, and it's grilled you grill it at the table. So that'll be fun. And
this is my old-fashioned with buffalo trace that I have now. So I'm looking forward to pairing that with the what is it? Bulgogi.
Bulgogi. Yeah, here at the event tonight. Listen, we've got a lot more to bring you. In about 30 minutes from now, we'll be doing our big live broadcast. But right now on Super Talk 99.7, it's time for the news. Genesis Diamond's most extreme values on diamond engagement rings is coming to an end. You have until Sunday at 5 p.m. to get the price of a lifetime on a certified GIA diamond ring. Now, response has been incredible. People have driven for hours to buy like dealers buy. All GIA certified diamond rings are on sale. A full 20% discount off Genesis everyday amazing value price. And we're talking about values that you might think would never be possible. From a half carat to 20 carats, all handpicked for maximum brilliance, all graded by the most prestigious gem lab in the world. Don't be surprised to see jewelry store owners and diamond dealers shopping alongside you. Rounds, radiants, pear shapes, ovals, princess cuts, cushion cuts. Genesis has the largest GIA diamond ring selection that you have ever seen, and now through Sunday, you can take advantage of this rare buying opportunity. Limit one per customer, please. Get the Genesis no middleman direct importer price minus an extra 20% off all GIA diamond engagement rings now through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs. See store for details. It is 37 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I'm Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy, and we're coming to you live tonight from our Korean, what is it, J Street? I always get the trouble.
I did too. I was having the trouble.
I have
J Street
Grill
and Bar.
Korean Grill and Bar in Hendersonville. You know, it's impossible when you're doing a live remote and you do it every day. You have your little system set up, and you're ready to do your radio from your studio, and then you find yourself in a bar with a table, and you can't find the piece of paper that you're looking for.
You know, Brian has just had a couple of drinks. That's what it. No, I'm just kidding. What's going on, man?
Well, you know,
I haven't seen you in a hot minute.
You know, I haven't seen you.
You're skinny.
Yeah, I am. I'm down about 50 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, but I did it.
That's what shingles will do to you.
That's what shingles will do to you, man. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. But you look great, man.
Well, thank you. I had to get into this vest for this event.
Yeah, you look slim and trim.
Well,
you
thank
look
you.
like ready for battle there. Let's just talk briefly about the big news that came down last night. You were so passionate earlier today about what a bunch of nonsense this is, especially when it really comes down to Donald Trump using his words.
What is the goal, right? And I think the goal goes beyond. I understand that Trump has triggered all of this, and that started way back. But the goal is to shut down dissent, and most importantly, I believe the goal is to shut down any conversation about how the political left does their business, the inside track, right? Trump, if anything, he identified some of the problems. The deep state, the swamp, all of these things. You know, you were talking earlier about the song "Rich Men from Richmond" and how that keys in on the feelings that we all have about how they feel about us and how they don't really care anymore about us.
Right.
And I think Donald Trump originally tapped into that back in 2015. It's why he won 2016. It's why they lashed back so much in 2020. Well, whatever they did in 2020, however you want to identify it, they are bound and determined that that is now the norm. They get to conduct their business the way they want to conduct their business, whether it's mail-in ballots,
Right.
whether it's and they don't like any concept of us getting closer to that truth. And so I think this is a part of shutting that down. You will never do this to us again.
You mentioned the song, and we had a great conversation with my audience yesterday about that song, Richmond North of Richmond. I think it taps into an anger that says a pox on both of your houses. You know, I'm tired of the nya-nya, what I call the nya-nya, like a bunch of 5-year-olds. You know, I'm going to get you today. Well, I'm going to get you tomorrow, and you know, it just turns into what looks like a little kindergarten playground. You know, of them yapping at each other and making noise at each other, and I think many people think while you're fighting with each other, no one is really paying attention to what we're living with here on the ground.
Well, you know it better than anybody, and I think the reason you get what that song is saying is because you've been in there, you've been inside of the Beltway. I've visited enough and I've seen it enough to know that if you're inside the Beltway and a part of that establishment business, whether you're Republican, Democrat, or whatever, you think of yourself and your competitors first and second, and you think of the American people last.
Right.
And the American people have grown wise to that. And that's what the swamp really is. They look at everything that happens in Washington, D.C. It's the epicenter of the world when truly I understand important decisions are made. I understand that important people live there and important things have to happen there. But the real world is everywhere else, right?
Yeah.
And they've seemed to have forgotten that. And I think it's what the song taps into, and I think that's what the American people are feeling right now.
Well, then I wonder, and I just ask, I think that people who like Donald Trump are going to still vote for Donald Trump.
Sure.
And I think that the support for Joe Biden is about a mile wide and an inch deep. I don't think Democrats are very passionate about him at all. Passion drives elections. You know, if Donald Trump becomes the nominee, there are going to be a lot of people who turn out. Joe Biden becomes the nominee, I'm not sure that a lot of people are going to turn out. One way or the other, we'll wait to see that. But I'm wondering, because this song seems to hit, both sides, just that nobody is listening to what my concerns are. Do you think that means then somebody who comes in through the middle could have a chance? Or could
like third party?
A third party. I mean, the no labels thing is going to happen.
Yeah, and I agree with you, though, Brian. I do not believe that Joe Biden will be the Democrat nominee. I've heard you say it. I've said it. And maybe we're being naive to how much they will do and how far they will go to prop him up, because it truly is propping him up at this point. But I don't think he's the nominee, and I wonder if there's a certain passion for someone else. I think Donald Trump is the entity that brings out most passion from the political left, because he's been mischaracterized, he's been mislabeled, and they treat him as the enemy. He's Genghis Khan. So I think the only thing that drives the left is Donald Trump. Well, that's fine, all well and good, but I don't know that it's an issue-oriented election. I think it should be, certainly considering the last 3 years, but I think it becomes a personality-driven election, especially if it's Donald Trump versus Joe Biden again. But I just don't, can say every time we see it for the 5, how this works. They know when his public appearances are. The best that we're ever going to see of Joe Biden is the 5 minutes that he's on stage, yet still he goes to Wisconsin and he bumbles and mumbles and fumbles his way through a 10-minute speech.
I've never, because I know how the Secret Service works with the president, I've been backstage with presidents, and I've watched that process. I know exactly how it always works. They're talking to the president as he's approaching. Mr. President, you're going to be sitting in the third seat from the left. You'll be sitting next to, etc. They give them the little rundown, and then they say things like, the agent most directly close to you will be directly behind you. On the floor, you will see They put big like duct tape arrows, and they say follow the arrows if something happens, and and they give them a whole thing, and then you'll exit stage left or stage right, and they give them the whole thing every single time. They give him this whole thing, and yet he walks out on stage and he looks lost and never knows where to go.
He doesn't know where to go. He doesn't know how to leave. He doesn't know necessarily what to say. He doesn't know who he's talking to. So all of that points to a different candidate, and we'll see that work out in real time. I don't see how he can function through a political campaign because being president's one thing, as you know. Being president and campaigning for president, that is double time, baby. That is 2-3 speeches a day.
Did you look behind us at this massive
Holy
television?
moly. Look at us.
We look pretty good on television.
Yeah, we're
don't
pretty
you think?
big. Look at that. This is a great place. It's a fabulous facility. I know everybody moved your cheese around, though, right? I know the palatial studio that you have at home. Now, the cheese is all moved around, right?
Yeah,
but no, this is a fabulous place. Dan Mandis will be here at some point. Pamela Fur, you talked to Pamela earlier.
Johnny B's already here.
Yeah, there you go. Mac Morey's in the house, a.k.a. Cougar Chow. That's what we like to call him, Cougar Chow.
Yeah.
Because look at him. I mean, you might want to get some security. I'm just saying. You did say you were wearing the short shorts today, too. Look at that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyhow, but no, I mean, back to your point. This was the most egregious. In my reading, I happened to be up last night. I was turning on Gutfeld, right? And Gutfeld wasn't on. It was Sean Hannity on. And I'm like, well, what's this? And Hannity, hey, we're awaiting this indictment. I'm like, why in the world are they doing this in the middle of the night? Well, we now know they accidentally posted it, lied about the accidental post, said it was fake news. It wasn't fake news. Right. It was the real post.
Right.
My question is, when did the vote happen exactly? Oh, we were just beta testing the indictment. Well, wait a minute. Did you have a vote or did you not have a vote of this special grand jury?
Well, it really doesn't matter because this whole thing is using RICO against Rudy Giuliani, for God's sakes, the man who invented RICO. Or figured out how to use it effectively. I mean, this is insane. It's overkill to the nth degree, and the whole situation it just won't stand up because honestly, I think almost every one of these lawsuits gets sort of cut back when you consider they're attacking a man for using his words.
Right, and it's not whether or not Donald Trump was right. And I know that most listening to us believe that Trump was right, that there were a lot of shenanigans that went on in Georgia. I believe that. But that's not the point. The point is he has every right in the world to say as a presidential candidate, hey, I think something went bad wrong here. You need to look into this. They're criminalizing him talking to his circle and saying, we need to investigate this because I think there was some cheating.
And you've got this piece of tape that's been out there the Republicans put together of like 24 minutes of Democrats whining about having the election stolen from them, when Trump beat Hillary Clinton.
Oh, sure. And Stacey Abrams.
Where are they? Where are the charges against them?
Well, that's different, Brian. Those were legitimate claims. I mean, once again, it's a matter of you don't get to criticize the process unless you fear criminal charges coming back against you. And, I don't know where that works well. I don't know what country has it ever worked well that the political party in charge gets to put in jail those that are questioning the process by which we elect presidents or governors or whatever. I don't think that ends well for the United States of America, that they don't have the ability to question those things. And guess who decides it all? And that's the thing, is that I don't believe the Democrats believe in the ability of the American people to select correctly in their minds, because correctly would be picking a Democrat, right? I think they want to supersede that and jump that process. We, the people, get to vote. And we'll decide whether or not we think Donald Trump's right or not in 2024. We'll decide whether or not there's any validity to his claims that the 2020 election was taken from him.
And so, yeah, I think you're right. I think ultimately this will be decided by the people. I think a lot of these lawsuits, quite frankly, are so thin. They're like crepe paper. They're just going to evaporate. They're just going to dissipate. they're not going to, by the time we get to trial, so many of the things that have been alleged will have already been worked out in pretrial motions that I don't think much of it's going to be standing at the end of the day.
How much damage do they do, however? You know, if you start the first one in January and then you've got trial after trial after trial, how much damage truly is done by the time it's all said and done? Who knows?
Who knows? 49 minutes now past the hour. Let me talk about Grace Point Healthcare, delivering medicine affordably with menu-style transparent pricing, so you'll know how much it will cost before the care is delivered. Smart Care plans start at $69 a month. You get unlimited office visits, free basic labs for the entire year. And because they treat the whole family, even newborns, they offer family plans as well. Now, if you were to marry this with a high-deductible insurance plan, it could save you and your family hundreds of dollars. At Grace Point, they take their time with each patient. They see you the same or next day. There are no long wait times or crowded wait rooms, and they treat naturally whenever possible. Military vet-owned practice as well. All of these are reasons why it's been voted the best primary care provider by Toast and Music City year after year after year. Grace Point Healthcare on Main Street in Franklin. Here's the number, 599-6868, to schedule a visit.
Hey folks, Paul Winkler here. One of the things I like to do for investors is educate them, because the more educated I believe that you are as an investor, the more peace of mind you have, the less you worry, and the more successful you're likely to be as an investor. So here goes another education. If we look at a lot of these investment portfolios, like these target date funds out there or portfolios put together by big mutual fund companies, they'll often use something called a total market fund. And you think, wow, I own the whole market in one mutual fund. Matter of fact, there's a really popular video out there on YouTube that says you can get by with just a couple mutual funds and you can be totally diversified. Nothing could be further from the truth. What's going on here is this. One of the things we know as an investor is that you have small companies out there and you have large companies out there. You have growth companies and you have value companies. I taught this in a previous video. We expect more return from small companies than we do large because they have to pay more to use your money historically. Value companies have to pay more to use your money historically as well. Now, what happens with total market funds is they weight based on the size of the company. Well, that would mean that a bigger company would represent more of the portfolio. So graphically, it would look something like this. The fund would look like this. That there's a ton of money in really big companies, and there's almost no money in really small companies in those portfolios. So it's not really diversified. Do they own them? Yeah, they own them, but they almost have no money in them. So when these do really well, you're not really getting the benefit from it. What we would be better served doing is investing in various areas of the market and holding different types of funds to be more balanced between these areas. That's what academic research shows us, is if we can hold these areas more separately, then we end up with a better risk-return experience. So this is one of the things that we teach people. We like for you to understand this, because the more you understand it, the less you're pulled astray from the investing industry that's typically all about selling you things. Yeah, total market fund, it sounds really good. Not necessarily so great in practice. Now, if you want to find out a little bit more and learn more about investing so that you're a more educated investor, why don't you take us up on a free 15-minute phone call? Go to paulwinkler.com. It's paulwinkler.com. You can set up one in any of our offices, our 10 offices around the Nashville area. There's one near you, most likely. Set that up. Come see us. We love to educate investors. I think you'll be happy you did.
Let me tell you, if I could, about the folks over at Eurofix. It's exciting news. You know, if you've lived around here for a lot of years, you know that Eurofix has been in Middle Tennessee. It's been the place to go for 24 years to get your European car fixed. And you've watched them grow. Well, I don't know about you, but I think it's great fun to watch a hometown business take off. We're now proud to announce a 5th location for Mount Juliet for Eurofix on Mount Juliet Road, right across from the Dairy Queen. Eurofix can serve you in Franklin, 100 Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now in Mount Juliet. Pretty cool getting to watch a small-town mechanic starting in a barn in the backyard of his single-wide trailer grow to 5 locations, repairing thousands of cars each month. Now, Eurofix get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. Call 844-EUROFIX or visit myeurofix.com. Well, listen, we're going to wrap things up here in just a moment. And hi there. There I am on the camera again. Listen, everybody has arrived. The round table will begin after the news. We'll be joined by Chris Hand, Matt Murphy, Pamela Fur, Johnny B, and who am I missing? Oh, Matt Murphy. Everybody will be here, and it'll be a big round table discussion, and I think a good time will be had by all. So stay tuned.
Is there going to be a round table, though? That's what I want to know.
No, there will be no round table for this round table.
Huh.
All right. And I got one more spot to do. Is that right?
Yes.
And that would be now. Everseal. Let me tell you what Everseal is. Everseal is a product that's been around for ages in industrial applications. And they figured out how to provide a permanent solution for sealing your exterior wood and concrete at a price that, well, home and business owners can actually afford. The process starts with a deep cleaning all the way down to make your wood or concrete look just as new as it can ever look. And then their patented seal absorbs all the way through. And here's where it gets interesting. It becomes a permanent part of your wood and concrete to prevent any further deterioration for the next 30 to 50 years. I said 30 to 50 years. So listen, think about the money you will save. Does this sound like something you want to look into? 1-844-EVER-USA, everseal.com.